Well, hello, and thank you for listening to today's episode. I'm coming to you live from a condo in Manzanillo, Mexico. And I want to share a story of how I came to be in Manzanillo, Mexico. It's a story filled with challenges, struggles, hope, and inspiration. My hope is for you to hear this story and to know that all things are possible for you in your business and in your life. As I sit here recording this, it is 4:30 in the morning. I've been awake for the last hour, watching an amazing lightning storm over the ocean as the condo sits on the ocean. And as soon as I hit record, a storm blew in, and so there is a little wind in the background and torrential downpour. It's kind of cool. And as I was laying there wide awake, I thought, what better time than to get up and share the story of how I came to be in Manzanillo with you. It was 10 years ago, and I was in a career that, well, wasn't aligned with me. I didn't know it at the time. Others around me knew it, that were in tune with their bodies. And it took what it took for me to realize that what I was doing was not aligned with me. I've come to learn through many teachers, amazing, incredible guides and teachers, that when I am unaligned, there are certain things that happen to my mind, to my body, to my soul. And one of the things that happens is I get a pain so deep in my back, in my left shoulder blade, where I have an old injury, and the pain is, well, it takes all I can do to function. It doesn't go away. And I remember at that time a massage therapist that I had gotten to know working on me. Week after week, she would go as she would go as deep as she could go in my shoulder blade on my left side, and she'd dig her elbow in, and each time she would ask what I did for a living. And I remember she would ask why I was doing what I was doing. And I remember thinking, why is she asking me this? And I remember thinking, is this backache aligned with what I'm doing? And yet, I kept doing what I was doing. I was in the real estate business, and I was making gobs of money. I was the third year in, and it was a struggle for me to get going. And I remember the feeling of, which today I know it's for me, wasn't being aligned. I remember that very first day walking into that real estate brokerage and having the feeling in my back, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It was a feeling of not belonging there. I don't believe that there's good or there's bad or right or wrong. I believe everything is a journey, and I believe that we're given tools through our journey. And I was given amazing tools in the real estate business. I learned how to create a database and nurture it. And I learned a lot in the 4 years that I was in real estate. I learned that I wasn't aligned. And so I'd started to seek alignment, again, not knowing it at the time. And one of the most amazing things that helped me to shift into alignment was a book that I came across when we were in Maui. And it is called The Secret. And I was having pains in my knee and pains in my back. And I remember reading this book, and it talks about manifestation. And what we focus on expands. And I read that book from cover to cover in a matter of a day, I think, 2 days. And I started to do what that book talked about, which is shifting your mind. That's what it talks about, shifting your mind. If you focus on buying a new car and then all of a sudden you're seeing that car everywhere, are there more of those cars driving around? No. It's you're focusing on that specific car, so you are going to see more. There's nothing woo-woo about that. It's you're focusing on something, and you're probably putting energy into that something, and so it is appearing more in your life. And so the book talks about creating a focus of what you want in life, taking action steps, and achieving those things. And that was the beginning of my current business, which started in 2011, Alaska Tracy, of shifting your belief. And prior to that, I'd been shifting my belief to become closer to a connection with God, with a power greater than myself, outside of myself, meditation, leaning in, listening, letting go, trusting. So it was all in sync. I started doing what The Secret talked about, and things started happening for me. And then we did another trip to Kauai. And again, I was still in the real estate business, and by then I was starting to get very miserable. I was making a lot of money. For me, a lot of money was on my gross income. It showed $160,000. I remember looking at the net income, which was about $40,000 or $50,000, and thinking, how is this possible that I'm generating all this income and yet this is the bottom line and I'm having such pain in my body? And so I started tapping inside to my heart, to God, really listening. We were in Kauai, and I was holding on to a real estate transaction as hard as I could, trying to hold it together. Meanwhile, I was missing the scenery all around me. I remember at one point being on the phone, holding as tight as I could to this transaction, getting off the phone, and I remember looking over at my husband and him saying, "Oh, you just missed another really cool site." So the sites were passing by me as I was gripping so hard to something that was hurting my body. I'm wondering if you can relate to any of this story so far. My husband wanted to go see a monastery that was on the island of Kauai, and he wanted to go see it to see how they had built this monastery to withstand 1,000 years. So he wanted to see the infrastructure, and I remember putting him down for it. Why are we going to it? How come I was just whining and complaining about it. And gripping onto this business, this real estate business that was creating such havoc in my mind and my body and my soul. And we drove up to the monastery, and we were greeted by a man who led the tour. He wasn't a monk. He lived near the property, and he explained to us that he and his wife, wherever they lived near monasteries so that they could tap into a spiritual foundation for their lives. And he was in the real estate profession, and I was immediately attracted to him and his story and everything about him. And so as he led the tour of this monastery and the monks, and I was enlightened. And I couldn't wait to talk to him after, because I felt as though I had had a spiritual awakening. And after, I was waiting to talk to him, and I was listening to the man in front of me talk to him, and the man in front of him said, "Thank you so much for enlightening me today. I'm in real estate in the California area, and I was moved today, and I now know what my purpose is. It is to help people, help navigate people through the sharks of the real estate industry, and to help them to get to their dream home." So I'm going to go back with this new enlightenment of being the navigator through the ocean, through the sharks, to help people, to serve people. And I'm going to provide all these tools for them to make their journey enjoyable. And I was able to talk to that man and the man who was guiding us through the monastery. And I said, "Oh my goodness, I too had enlightenment today. I too was moved. I too had this spiritual awakening, and mine was different than yours. Although I wish I could say that I was enlightened to go back to Anchorage, Alaska, and to help navigate buyers and sellers. However, I was enlightened today, and I was spiritually awakened, and I know my journey and my purpose is to step aside from real estate, to thank the people that have helped me so much grow and guide me and be teachers and mentors. And I know that I am no longer serving anybody, buyers, sellers, the fellow realtors that are working around me. I know that I'm bringing negative energy into the office, and that I am no longer able to serve, and it's time for me to step aside. And I wanted to thank the man who led the tour for the enlightened experience. And I remember looking at my husband on the drive down that hill and saying, "I'm done with real estate. It's time for me to move on." And I don't know what he was feeling, my husband, at that time. I only know what I was feeling, and I was feeling hope. My back was feeling better. The pain inside my body was feeling lighter. My heart felt hopeful, joy, and a sense of alignment, which again at the time I didn't know that was what I was experiencing. And I came back and I set a date to leave the real estate industry and to consult and to create Alaska Tracy, and it happened. And it wasn't long before I had the business up and going, and I was helping businesses with their social media to gain clients, to attract clients, and to use social media marketing as a tool for them. And that was the beginning of noticing the power of manifestation, the power of what we focus on, what I focus on expands. And it can expand in a negative way, and it can expand in a positive way, depending on what I am focusing on. And the same goes for you, and I invite you at this time that you're listening to this to think about what you're focusing on, what you're really tapping into, thinking about. Are you thinking about goodness? Are you thinking about growth? Are you thinking about positiveness? Or are you focusing on the negative energy that is around us? Always. There's always positive and there's always negative. And what is happening for you right now, right this moment in your life? Where are you? And I invite you to look within your body. Is your body happy, or is your body sore and achy? I've recently come to learn that my stomach issues, any gut issues, revolve around what's going into my brain. And so I used to think it's about what I eat. And when I'm putting positive into my body, when I'm putting positive into my mind, the gut issues disappear. Because I'm not reaching for crap to eat. I'm not limiting myself on what to eat. I'm allowing myself to eat. I'm allowing myself to stop when I'm satisfied. When the negative energy starts, when I'm inputting negative, I notice negative often goes into my mouth. And that creates gut issues, digestive issues, back issues, neck issues. And so I invite you at this moment to do a full body scan and ask yourself, honestly, where you're at and what you're manifesting. And so the vision mapping framework that came about in my business came about from that book, The Secret. It came about from creating my first business plan 21 years ago. It came about from prayer and meditation. And it's tools to help you, to help me, to align with your heart, and then use your brain to take actions to create that manifestation. And I have learned through my own experiences and those of the clients that I get to work with, when these actions are taken, the manifestation that appears is often beyond one's wildest dreams. So I'm going to share with you back to how Manzanillo came about. I have wanted to live on the ocean for years. And we were in Kona one year and bought a piece of art, a painting of volcanoes and whales. And I believe whales are a spirit totem animal in my life, mama and baby whales. And so I brought that piece of art home and I put it in front of my computer screen. And so when I'm looking at my computer, I see this beautiful piece of art of the ocean, mountains, volcanoes, and the whales jumping. And the last several years, I've been looking at properties in Alaska on the ocean, and Washington on the ocean, in California on the ocean, anywhere. I've taken actions. I've manifested living on the ocean part-time. Manzanillo, Mexico. One of the very first clients that I had in my first business 21 years ago, I became acquaintances with, just really adored her, and she adored me, and she referred a lot of business to me in those first years. I was single. I had a new home that I was paying a mortgage to, and I was so grateful to her for her referrals. And then my husband and I started dating, and we ended up getting married. And she said, my husband and I have a condo in Manzanillo, Mexico on the ocean, and we would like to gift it to you and your husband for your honeymoon. And that was 16 years ago that we came to Manzanillo, Mexico, to this condo for our honeymoon. Fast forward 16 years, she moved out of Alaska. I kept in touch with her through Facebook. I was watching her one day post whale videos in front of the condo in Manzanillo, mama and baby whale photos, videos. And supposedly the whales aren't always here in this bay, and they were here this year in front of their condo. And I was intrigued, and I was watching her post these beautiful photos and videos. And she's an interior designer, and she's redone every square inch of this condo in Manzanillo throughout the last 20 years that they've owned it. And one day I was watching as she was posting photos and videos, and she said, by the way, friends, my husband and I are selling our beautiful condo in Manzanillo on the ocean. If any of you know anyone or you yourself would like to buy it, let's have a conversation. We're buying a house down the street from this condo. Guess what? I'm sitting in that condo. I signed paperwork to purchase this condo with that woman this past Monday on my 23rd anniversary of celebrating sobriety. The gift of manifestation is powerful. And things can happen beyond our wildest dreams. I'm here to tell you that. I'm living proof. And those I follow and look up to are living proof. And those that I get to work with are living proof that you can manifest goodness, growth, prosperity, calmness in your business and in your life. I invite you to send me an email and let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about what you would like to manifest in your life right now. I believe that we are all here to share our journey. And over the last year, I've had so many incredible conversations with so many beautiful women. And often I am not the right teacher for that person. And I have no problem at all referring to others in my network that I know that might be the right teacher. So let's have a conversation. I'm very clear on those that I am looking to work with, to help, to work with, That's the best word I can come up with. I'm very, very, very clear. I know the words and the body language, and I know how to listen to my own alignment and to know if I am not the right person for you. And I, again, am okay telling you that. Send me an email, free strategy call, free conversation, whatever you want to call it. Let's have a conversation today. Because you are worth it, my friend. And the universe, God, whatever you believe in outside of yourself, wants the very, very best for you. Because then you can be the very, very best for others all around you. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Remember to click subscribe, share with your friends, and leave me a comment or a review letting me know that this was helpful to you. Thank you, my dear friends. Till the next time.